Hey guys, another video here on Connor's truck, Old Faded Glory. Now, I gotta say, I'm a little bit behind these videos, so we're taking a couple steps back. This video is on chassis reassembly, and eventually get the body back on the frame at the end of this video too as well. So it's a runner now, it's together, we're putting the finishing touches on it, and I'm filming today on some clips of it and whatnot, so bear with me. We'll get to this point, but we'll get to a couple steps back. So without further ado, here's more on Faded Glory. All right, guys, Connor's truck, Old Faded Glory. If you can call it that. It's just a chassis now, but it is going back together. So if you guys watched the last video, you'll recognize some progress here. As I said, we popped the cab off and spent a day wire wheeling it down and painting up that old frame. It turned out pretty good, actually. Nothing to it but to do it sometimes, and we come this far with the project, and it was just literally a cab that was sitting on it was all that was really left keeping us from doing that. So figured, hey, why not? We're here. Now guys have to go back on it later or, try to do it someday down the road. The time was now. And it didn't take too much. Like I say, it was a pretty solid frame. A little bit of surface rust at the back, but we just wire wheeled it up really good and cleaned it up really good, made sure it was really clean, and got a good coat of paint on it. And we use this here. This is from Pour 15. It's their top coat. Direct to metal, basically spray paint. It's good stuff. This is actually gloss black. We use semi-gloss in the frame. And as you guys can obviously see, got the engine in place, got new brake lines ran, front to back, all new brake lines, brake hoses, steering's all hooked up. Yeah, it's come back together. It's gonna be a truck again. Front shocks are on. Extended brake hoses are on. Well, this is extended brake hose back here. I've got to make a little bracket to come off the diff. The truck never had one. I'll make one and make it all proper and whatnot. But I am waiting on the degree shims for the rear end, and I'm gonna get those installed, and then I'll hook the brake hose up. And we've got the brake hose kit that runs from that T right there and comes over to the calipers. So I'll get all that in place when I'm done messing around with the axle, and I've got the shim plates in place, as well as the 1-inch zero rate I'm gonna throw in there at the same time. But yeah, so it's coming together. This here isn't really finalized. I just put this in place. I mean, the chassis is good to go, but this adapter has to come back off, and I've got to change out that coupler still. That's on its way as well. It should be here maybe tomorrow, or might be today, but by tomorrow for sure. And get that fixed. I'll show the process on that, and the seals in there that I'm going to replace, so that this will quit leaking into the transfer case that goes behind it, which is one of its biggest issues. So I'm going to show you guys that, and I will once the coupler shows up. I can do that, but I just wanted to get it in place for now and sitting in the frame. So once I get that, I'll throw a train jack underneath here, pop the adapter off, get it sealed up, put it back in place, and as well as the transfer case too. I actually did find that the coil was indeed, well, I shouldn't say bad, or it had a bad wire that was rubbing on itself. So got a new coil for it, put it in there. The cap, it was pretty fresh, so were the rotor, so just kept those. But I've got new plug wires I'm gonna run today, and I want to show you guys the ones I'm using. But as of right now, I am about to install these headers. I've got them over here on the stand. I scrubbed them up real good this morning. They were pretty rusty. Just kind of scotch-brighted them really good, wire wheeled them, got all the little surface rust I could off of them, and painted them with header paint. And it was just kind of one of those things that, again, why not while you're there? But I wanted to get a coat of protection on these too, because they were starting to get pretty rusty. They still, were sealing up good enough, and I think a guy can get another 5-10 years out of these things now that the guy's coated them. And yeah, get a little bit more service life out of them, because they did work well, and the exhaust, it was of course built to these headers. So we're going to keep running these. So these are reconditioned, let's say, and I'm gonna get these installed. I've got new gaskets here. I don't know if you guys have ever ran these before. These are Remflex gaskets. These are made in the United States, and even made in Washington State, here in my state. I believe in Mukilteo. Where's it at? Oh, it says made somewhere. No, they're made in the USA, but they are made in Washington, and they are I'm going to say they're the best. I love these ones. They're my favorite ones. They've got a really good crush kind of quality to them, to where they will squish a lot more than a normal gasket. You can see they're pretty thick. And I've had the best luck with these, getting these to seal up. So this is my go-to. I kind of don't really bother putting anything else in because these ones work so well. And it's just kind of steered me to always go this direction. So I've got a set of these for, of course, the exhaust port side, and then down below the collector. But Ramflex gaskets, check them out, guys. If you guys haven't used them before, they're pretty darn good. All right, so I got the headers in place. I wanted to show you guys these plug wires. These are from Napa. There's their upper line, the beld and edge, and these kind of aren't known about. I gotta do a little more fine tweaking here, but I've got them pretty well where I want them to be. This set comes with little wire separators, which is nice, so you don't have to do the, zip ties everywhere. And those give it a clean enough look. So these are their performance 8mm. Focus is in there. Yeah, 8mm, and they're basically for a smaller big block Chevy with HEI distributor, and just kind of universal fit plug wires. They're plenty long. They're not too long. They're not obnoxiously long. Yeah, these are nice because the over-the-counter ones you get are meant usually for stock application with manifolds, and sometimes you kind of run into some length issues, while these are kind of more of a generic length and are kind of better fit with headers. So I like these because you can run down to the store and just go get them. They're fairly inexpensive. They're $50 for a set. And yeah, they fit nice. It's just easy to get and stick them on, and you're rocking and rolling. Look nice. They're nice and thick. And I've had pretty good luck with these Napa upper line plug wires over the years. I've ran dozens of sets of this brand, and I'm sure you guys have too. So for $50, I think these are pretty hard to beat, and they're just a direct, installation. No monkeying around, no fussing, and good to go. So yeah, ran a set here on Connor's truck. So headers are on, plug wires are on. I don't even know what I'm doing next. Oh, I need to get this. I just have to sit in there. I got a new thermostat and a gasket already glued to it. I just need to get that. Oh, go get some bolts that are the right length, but do that. And I'll probably finish up the night by painting up, cleaning up, and quick little coat of black on the two lower pulleys and get those put on. But yeah, this is in place. Should run a lot better than it did. I'm sure we got rid of that vacuum leak among other issues, and she's got a fresh tune-up. She's all sealed up, and yeah, excited to see how much better it's going to run. I think lastly, I am going to have to go through and at least clean up that carb and probably throw a kid at it, because she was acting like she had fuel and carburation issues on top of all the other issues. But for the most part, motor is installed and it is done. And there is that part number again on this wire set. So you guys can run down and get some for yourself and try them out. For $50, pretty hard to beat. All right, ORD order came in. We got the axle shim plates, big steep ones here. And of course our zero rates I'll be installing later today here on Connor's truck, as well as this new coupler for the Turbo 350 to 205 adapter. This is the piece that basically combines the splines out of the transmission and into the transfer case. And this is basically, just a little coupler tube. This side of the splines is fine, it's totally normal. And I just happened to be sitting here one day when I had this apart, just kind of goofing off, and I felt in there and I felt a really sharp edge. This side of the splines is all worn. You can almost can't even see it in there. Look at how, nice and clean and thick those splines are versus those are almost like all chewed down. So glad I caught that, because this needs to be fixed. And we got to replace the seals in here anyways. So I'm gonna get this torn apart and get this old coupler out, as well as the seals, and I'll clean it up and show you guys how this goes back together with the new coupler. I do want to mention, it seems to be a common thing, these threaded holes that go to essentially this adapter that is the transmission mount always seem to be kind of goofed up. I've ran a tap through these a couple times now, just kind of chasing them out a little more, but I've had many instances where these were kind of gunked up or the threads were slightly compromised, and so I like to just, while this is out and it's easily accessible, check them, run a tap from if it needs it, and just make sure these are good to go, because seem to be commonly kind of goofed up. But these ones weren't too bad. They just kind of gunked up a little bit. So, okay, those are good. I've got this thing, the coupler, old coupler removed, and everything. And I've got it kind of cleaned up. I'm gonna run some acetone over, quick little bath, and shoot a bit of black on it, and we'll get that new coupler installed. All right, so I didn't even think about this, but yeah, this is what we got going on here. So this is the factory setup. I kind of reassembled it here outside of the adapter. And this is the transmission side. This is, of course, is the transfer case side that bolts up to the 205. Factory, these earlier trucks, all the only kind I play with, you know, I'm just 67 and 72, and all of the Turbo 350 adapters in this era are like this. They have a bearing on this side of the adapter, the transmission side, and the coupler essentially has a area for that bearing to ride, and you see the little C-clip or snap ring, and whole thing gets held in place with this snap ring in this groove here. So I replaced the seals. As you guys see, the seals ride on the coupler itself. They're kind of back-to-back installed, so one goes right here, and the other one comes on the other side over here. And so that tries to keep transmission fluid from going from the transmission and into the transfer case. The other seal, of course, is this O-ring on the transfer case input, so that the transmission fluid, as it tries, cannot pass through the splined area. So it's basically sealed in here and then sealed in there. That's the two ways of, you know, it can and usually always does get into the transmission because, transfer case, because these seals, again, go bad, as well as the O-ring. So I replaced these seals dozens of times on these, and you know, undone the snap rings, and pushed in new seals and put it back together. And this bearing is usually, I've never seen one of these bearings be bad before, because it just lives in a bath of ATF its whole life, so it really can't go bad. But what happened, right going on here, is this is a new coupler. So sometime in the 70s, they switched from this design with the bearing and just did it so it was just a straight tube with no bearing on this end of the trans. I've heard of this before. I've never actually had a setup like this. This is kind of square body stuff, basically. This was a revision, though, because supposedly what could end up happening is, I don't know if it's just down to, you know, casting and machining or whatnot, is that if that bearing goes bad, or this one does indeed go bad, it can be kind of more catastrophic. And this bearing essentially at the front of this adapter was essentially overkill. It's not needed. The transmission output shaft is right here, and it's well supported by the trans itself. And then it has a, you know, of course, large bearing right there at the front of the trans case. So it's plenty strong to, you know, just have a coupler in between the two of them. It's strong here and it's strong at the back of the trans, but obviously these earlier trucks had yet another bearing. So this new one we got is for the later design, and that was what they all eventually went to. They did away with this front bearing. So I'll be putting together without a bearing in this adapter. So basically I've just got to push the two seals in, one here and one there, and slip this bad boy in there, and it's good to go. And we'll be ready to install this, these two pieces, into the chassis and on the back of the transmission. So yeah, pretty simple. Oh, almost forgot. This guy, the O-ring, this guy goes right here. I got the old one off right there. It was all dried out. And this, of course, seals fluid from coming, tries to seal fluid coming, you know, out and around out this way, because this is where the back of the trans bolts up right to this adapter. So yeah, kind of got a little bit different setup here going back in, but this was the revision design. So no bearing in the adapter. I've never dealt with this before. I've done dozens of these. I've never had a bearing issue that, you know, they claim to fix this for. Never had an issue with one of these bearings, you know, lead to more problems, or suppose it was a vibration harmonics thing. They are smoother without this bearing. I've never had an issue with it, but that doesn't mean that I'm right and that this isn't better. So we had no choice, because we got booger up splines, and this one is a beauty. It is nice and tight. Let me show you guys. Look at this. No play. I'm turning left and right, and the transfer case turn left and right. Then we put this guy on there. Kind of hard to see, but look at that. It's not moving the transfer case input at all. That's just the slack and slop in this coupler. And then we'll go back to the turning the transfer case input. Beauty. Yep, that was gonna, who knows, might last for another 50 years and another 300,000 miles like that, but we are in here, so it was time to fix it. Okay, I'm gonna get these seals pushed in and get this set up all together and get it installed in the chassis of the truck. All right, so I've got these zero rates plus the shim plates put together here. I kind of want to show you guys before I stick in. I might make more sense. So this essentially is going to be the new the pin, the bolt that's holding the leaf back together. This will pass up through the leaf springs up to the top, have a nut on it, and before essentially, you know, as it runs through, this would be the pin on the bottom that it would be right, you know, in line with that, where it would go into the axle and essentially place the axle location on the leaf springs. So you can see now the pin's over here. So that's what these zero rates are able to do. They can provide just a 1-inch lift like I did in the front with no axle relocation, or they can do a 1-inch axle relocation or an 1.5 inches. And I have since measured this out, and I want to move this axle back forward to stock location as well as shim it up. So I've got it paired with these. So again, so we got kind of two leaf pin bolts, leaf spring center pins. That's what I'm trying to say here. Having a brain fart. So we've got two center pin bolts basically now. This is the one that's gonna hold the main leaf back together, and this is the short little one that is going to essentially center the axle. And this will be all tight, and this is all tight here. And then you sandwich it up with U-bolts and make sure they're nice, good and tight. And yeah, it's good to go. All right, transfer case is installed. Everything's in place, all good to go. Happy with how that turned out. I just gotta run a speedo cable. I've got a few little things here I need to do the chassis before it's ready to put the body back on, which I'm trying to get done here possibly today. At least the cab anyways, and hopefully get started on the front clip. I need to hook up the transmission shift linkage here. Now that easily could be done underneath the truck, surely, with the cab on. But the problem with this is here, this all has been moved forward. It's not a stock location. This was a stick shift frame, 68 GMC 4-wheel drive frame. So they're all stick shift in those years, no automatics. So of course it's had an automatic for all these years. Well, they had rigged up in place, just kind of a janky. They actually used the 2-wheel drive pivot off the frame from the 72 body and kind of boogered it in place and made it work with an extra. I'll show it here in a bit. It's kind of a little bit of a mess, and it never was happy. It was always kind of in a bind, and when it was shifting, you know, through the gears. Well, that's why, because someone just kind of rigged something up. Now I got to say too, you might have heard me say 2-wheel drive there, because the 4-wheel drive ones are different. Well, why not just bolt the 4-wheel drive one up? Well, because everything's been moved forward, and it is wanting to be right about there. So I got to move it forward. But the problem is the shackle hangers right here. So I've done this before a couple times, putting big blocks in these trucks and doing different things, and having to basically move that bracket. And that's what I'll do here with this one too. It's no big deal, but will be way easier working on it like this rather than underneath the truck and trying to finagle around. So exhaust is all hooked up, headers, and everything's all good to go there. Onto the back, got the rear shocks on. You can see our zero rates as well as our shim plates. We got our pinion pointed back up. It's all happy, it's all good to go. Yeah, I'm pretty hyped about this. This is coming together. Ran the brake hoses. Those are from ORD as well. Those hoses are paired with, of course, the disc brake kit. It's an option you can run. They're nice. This runs out. It's got a banjo bolt like it should, and nice stainless braided hoses. Got a new diff vent line ran. I did weld up all those extra mumbo jumbo holes I had back here because it was just kind of like Swiss cheese, and we'll drill some new ones with whatever bumper we put on it. It was just so many that I was just like, you know what, let's start fresh there. And lastly, back here, I replaced these upper shock brackets. These were, you can see they go right there. It's got way nicer ones on it. there, and of course here. I kind of addressed it earlier in the video. It seemed like it maybe had a flatbed or something like that put on it, because it had a big hole. You can see drilled there, and then they torched a hole in it for axe. I don't even know. They had something goofy going on with these. The problem is these sat and collected full of mud this whole entire time, because it is kind of just a big pocket. You can see these are real rusty. Well, the frame was, you know, pretty surface rusted right there. So we cleaned it up really good where those were sitting, you know, behind these. And I've kicked these upper, basically set of these that are in, you know, normal shape. I've had to take it around for like, I mean, gosh, probably close to 10 years. I took them off of a partial frame I had that I sent to scrap. It was just kind of like a portion of a wrecked four-wheel drive frame. I took all the cross members out of it, and I cut these off of it, and I've been carrying them around, kicking them around for all these years. Well, it was time to use them here. It's usually a piece that never goes bad, but these ones were. So we fixed that. It's all bolted in place. And as well as these had some kind of like, I'm assuming it was part of the kind of flatbed deal or whatever it had on it. These had like a chunk of like metal still kind of booger welded to the bottom of them. So I popped those off and got a chunk of metal off there. And yeah, so those little brackets, the rear of the frame here are all fixed up, good to go. So yeah, everything's happy back here. This is all looking good. So I did run into a snag though with the rear driveline. I'm trying to get the drivelines in it. That's the other thing I'm trying to do over here is get this front driveline in place before putting this cab on, because it's just gonna be so much easier, so much more access. I was checking out the rear driveline last night, and I didn't notice when I took it out, but look at this. I am, all my force on that is not moving. It took me, gosh, a good 10 minutes just to get it to slide from here to here. I didn't realize it was so stuck up and stiff when I took it out of there, but you can see it's missing the splines are just exposed. It's missing that cap here on this yoke. So who knows what kind of condition those splines are in. Obviously not good, or they're stuck up like crazy. So I kind of abandoned that driveline. I've had, again, here's something I've had kicked around for a long time. This driveline was out of a K20 I bought that was LS swapped. And same deal with LS, you have to move the drivetrain forward. And so they had drivelines made for it, that you have to move it forward. When you put LS in one of these K-Series trucks, you have to move the driveline forward, because an LS really isn't any bigger footprint than a small block. But this, you know, essentially is right here. It starts so much sooner. So, and the firewall is so close to these trucks, even with a normal small block. So there's not room. You have to move an LS a couple inches forward, as well as change the engine cross member or work out something down there because it doesn't fit the LS oil pan. So whenever a guy has to LS swap one of these trucks, a four-wheel drive one, two-wheel drive, they just go right in. A four-wheel drive, you got to move everything forward. Well, this truck had an LS put in it at some point. It was just kind of an old farm truck, somebody LS swapped. A guy bought it, he ripped all the stuff out, put in a blazer, and here's this carcass of this truck lying around. Well, it had both the drive lines that were shortened because of moving it forward. The front drive line was shortened, and this rear drive line that was lengthened. And so this is longer than stock drive line by about a little over 2 inches. Actually, even more than that, it's about 3, because that truck had a big lift on it. Actually, a little bit bigger than this. And so it's just about 1 inch longer than that shaft. That one actually was made too, which is kind of funny to see. It's not a factory shaft where it's been rebuilt or, you know, built at some point, because the welds on it aren't factory welds. But I had this one. It's in really good shape. I mean, it's got less than, gosh, a couple thousand miles on it. I put new U-joints in it last night and got it in place. It's a little close for comfort here, but I can actually still move that axle back a 1/2 inch or a full 1.5 inches. And if we're gonna be running the flatbed route, I might just totally do that. So I've got wiggle room here, and worst comes to worst of it, if we have to, we could pop the shaft back out and have them shortened an inch and a half, and get this to 100% happy. But really, it's actually not that far off, which is just crazy, because the wild card is, and it took me a while to think of it, I'm like, well, gosh, this is kind of where that LS was sitting, you know, essentially, and it was a Turbo 350 and a 205, same setup. So I know this was the same point in the other truck. The truck had a bit bigger lift, and it had an Eaton in it still. And I do believe the Eaton the pinion doesn't come as far out. This kind of, you can see, really kind of pushes off the front diff. So I bet you the Eaton is about here. And so damn near perfect driveline, a little long, but yeah, we might move the axle back a little bit. We might be able to because we're going flatbed, or pop the shaft out and have it shortened, or might just be fine the way it is. But I'll make sure this is good here. Well, like, it'd be nice to make use of this shaft. It's been lying around here forever and would save a guy probably about 500 bucks on this deal, because they're not cheap to have built anymore, and someone surely spent that much or more to have that one built. So yeah, the front one I've got over here. I got it cleaned up, painted, got to pop new joints in it, and a new little cardan. This was the problem with it. This guy was bad, in tough shape. The needle bearings were kind of ground out of it and whatnot. So yeah, get this put together here and get this in place. Something else I'm forgetting. I ran the tranny lines. I got those in place. Those are all good to go. Oh, I popped the bump stops back in the brackets. Yeah, we're close. I ran the trans modulator line. We got a new one of those too. His had a little hole in it. Oh, and I do think I'm going to change this dipstick tube while we're here. It's chrome, and I just don't trust it to not leak. And so I've got a normal one, I think, out back. And on top of all that, the dipstick itself is missing. Connor's been checking his tranny fluid with a carriage bolt for I don't know how long, but oh boy, poor old girl. We're getting to the end of the list here. It's like everything's fixed and kind of no stone left unturned. This is getting pretty exciting, actually. It's a damn near new truck. All right, front drive line's done. Remember myself how to do them. I only maybe do 1 or 2 of these a year. If like I was doing them more often, then be better on them. But yeah, it's just like, okay, that one first, and no, wait, no, yeah. It's kind of funny to remind myself the way to put them back together best. And I am proud of myself because I always try to do this, and sometimes it's easy to goof it up with all these joints. But all my Zerks are in a line, so good to go. Okay, time to put it in the truck. And there we have it. As you guys can see, it is a truck again. Most of a truck, more of a truck than it was. Connor came over and lent a hand, and we just kind of got busy, and well, yeah, got the cab back on, the front clip line back up, and yeah, sitting all high and mighty. You can tell it looks a lot better and sitting nice and true with the new cab mounts. I'm sure it gained a 1/2 inch of lift there, and because they were just so sacked out. The old ones were, and one was pretty well non-existent. And of course the zero rate, so we got an extra inch in the front and the back. So yeah, looking good. It's sitting up nice and tall, so it's gonna look good with some new treads, some new meats on it. I did too get this door adjusted. It's still a little sticky, but it's not a chore to close. More like it was riding up the latch. The hinges are actually all worn out. But that is a project for another day. We're sticking to the budget here. Ended up kind of snowballing on the chassis a little bit. The body's going back together pretty well how it is. We do have a few small fixes and things we're going to do. Since it is kind of apart and whatnot, I want to fix the mirror on the other side. It's kind of all goofed up. Get the gas gauge working. The tank in there, probably have to end up putting a new sending unit in it. It seems as the float there's some issue with it. Gauge is working, but the wire and the sending unit seems to be not doing its part. So get that working. Yeah, maybe clean this up a little bit and whatnot, but yeah, it's going back together. This is we're over the hump now, and it's all downhill from here. So Connor did order up the Torque King aluminum Big Spicer hub dials. We're chucking the Warrens out and putting Spicer factory style hubs on this thing with, of course, the upgraded aluminum centers. So next video, we'll be doing those, and I'll show you guys the process on that. I did the same on Darren's truck a while back, my neighbor's blue K20 that we kind of resurrected from it being dead, sitting in the field forever. We did a set of the Torque King 4x4 aluminum dials on that truck, so we'll be doing the same here. It's kind of my go-to. I like putting them on all the trucks. They work quite well and they look nice, and it is the fix-it kit for sure. So I'll show that process. That will button up the chassis essentially. I mean, that's the only thing here that really is not in place is those outer locking hubs. Everything else is all good to go. I did set up and get the shift linkage pivot sorted out before putting the cab on, as well as getting that front and drive line installed that I was showing you guys. You can see it coming down there. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to cut the video here. We got quite a bit of work to do, just kind of reassembly and whatnot, but I've got something cool coming up for it too. So next video will be a little bit of a detour. Connor's K20, Old Faded Glory here, coming back together. Like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys' support. And as always, more 67 and 72 content soon. And certainly some more on this particular truck as it goes back together here in the shop. Thanks again, guys. Thanks for watching.